So today, I want to talk to you about the 3 keys to a successful business cycle. Now, when I say a business cycle, what I'm suggesting to you is that your business, it has to have many cycles, but one specific cycle needs to be the cycle of how you and your business get attention, how you and your business makes conversions, and how in your business implement retainment. So there's a cycle that has to happen and that has to perpetuate in your business. This is not just something you're going to do in the month of March. This ain't just something you're doing for 6 months out the year. This is something that you're going to develop and you're going to continue to perfect and work on throughout the life of your business. And if you do it correctly, you will have certain systems, certain processes, certain best practices throughout your entire organization that will continue no matter how big you get and no matter how far you go. And so it's all about you creating a cycle that allows you to get attention. Well, who are you getting attention for? You want to get attention for clients. You want to get attention for customers. You want to get attention for staff members and team members. You may want to recruit people in your group and in your business. Well, it's going to depend on your ability to get attention. And then once you start getting attention from customers, from clients, from recruitments, and from staff members and people in the marketplace, you have to know how to make conversions. So that means I've got to convert someone who may be a potential client or customer into a real client or customer. I have to recruit and I've got to get the attention of people who want to become members of my team. But once I get their attention, I need to convert them. And so there are certain things that I have to have as value propositions for people to want to work with me, for people to want to do business with me, for people who want to build with me and help me grow my organization. And then once these conversions take place, I want to make sure that I can implement a program or systems and processes and practices that provide retainment. I want to retain what I have. So I want to continue to perpetuate it, but I also want to retain it. So how do you actually do this? Well, there are 3 keys. There are 3 keys to doing this. Now, again, I'm going to give you more of the technical pieces of each of these 3 keys. And if there's more information that you need, please keep in mind, we have an entire online virtual training program that teaches a lot of these principles and practices. We have a mentorship program that not only includes the virtual, but it also includes me and my team working with you. Weekly coaching calls, quarterly masterminds and workshops where you're able to come together with a community of people and work through these things. And in many cases, be with people who have already developed some of these principles and practices that you can gravitate and adopt for yourself. So what are the 3 keys to creating a successful business cycle where you're able to get attention? All right, you're able to make sure that people see you and hear you and know you, but then you're able to convert them into followers, convert them into clients, convert them into believers in your vision, and retain it so that your life is not an open, like an open and closed door. Like your life is not a revolving door. People are always coming in and people are always going out. And this could be applied to any area of your life, definitely business, but think about it. It can be applied to your life personally. If you don't get the attention, if you're not attracting the best people, it's something that's broken that has to be fixed. The cycle is not developed yet. If you're getting attention for the right people, but you don't keep them, they don't become friends, they don't become a part of your life, they don't stick around long enough, that's a conversion issue. But then if you get people converted, do they stay forever, or do they find a place in your ecosystem? This is a very, very, very powerful dynamic. So what are the 3 keys to a successful business cycle? Well, number one, the first key, your business has to be transactional. And again, if you Google a lot of the stuff that I be saying on my show, you will see that there are tons of books and literature and studies and science and statistics and data behind a lot of what you hear me say, because I didn't just come up with this stuff. But a lot of times I'm one of those people where I may read 20 books on a certain subject, and once I read those 20 books and I gather the data from those 20 books, I may come to certain conclusions that make sense to me, so that I can take it and convert it into something that is practical for my life and for my business. And I think that resonates with my community. It resonates with the people that connect with me, because you may not be the person that's going to go read 30 books. You may not be the person that's going to wait 12 years to figure something out. You may not be the person to do all the digging and the diving and the researching and the nitpicking to figure out what is the perfect system or process or practice that's needed for A, B, C, or D. But when you listen to someone like me or connect with someone like me, I may have already done some of the due diligence to give you that lift to make it easier for you. So the first key to a successful business cycle is that your business has to be transactional. Your business has to be transactional. And these are like literally business leadership principles. Number two, the second key is that your business needs to be transitional. It needs to be transitional. I'll explain it to you in a moment. I just want to make sure you got it. Number three, the third key, your business needs to be transformational. And really, when you start getting into like the nuts and bolts of what I'm saying, like the real technical, logistical details of what I'm saying, what you're going to learn is when you own a business and make the decision to run and operate a business and grow a business, you are actually owning, running, and operating a set of systems, processes, principles, and practices that move in cycles that keep your business growing and progressing, which means you're going to have to know how to deal with people. It means that you're going to have to understand systems and processes. It means you're going to have to understand sales and marketing and all of these different things that literally make up a business. If you were to break a business down into microscopic sales, you will actually see that there are millions or probably billions of microscopic sales that make up this one business that you have a name for, that you put on a website or that you put on a card and present to the world. All they see is ABC Company LLC with a phone number, an email address, a website, and some products and services. But if you don't understand all the cellular details behind that little information on that card or that landing page, if you don't understand it, there are going to be some breakdowns, and you're going to suffer at the expense of not getting attention, not making conversions, and not having retainment. And these are principles and practices and systems and processes that I have to continue to learn and develop and grow and understand and evolve in and tweak and build on daily. It's daily. So you're going to have to be committed to do that daily. And again, when you find people who have done some of the work or maybe a whole lot of the work, you've got to learn how to jump in on that. You know, if you've ever grown up around people who played double dutch, you know, I'm a 70s baby, so we grew up playing double dutch, you know, like jumping jack. You know, we played double dutch, And you got to know how to stand on the sideline and then jump in and know when to jump out so somebody else can jump in. And if you're good, 1 or 2 or 3 people can jump in if it's if they're big enough ropes. And so when you find a business owner or a company or an organization or a group, a network, a business community similar to what we have that's already figured a lot of this stuff out, at least to the extent that if you did exactly what they're doing, it can at minimum bring you to a 7-figure $1 million level. All you have to do is just make the decision to gravitate towards it. That's what you have to do. That's all you have to do. And before I get into this, I just want to share this because yesterday, my team and I, we trained all day yesterday. Thursdays are typically the days that we train interns, we work with mentees in our Millionaire mentorship program, because Thursdays we designate to schedule mentees and interns to come in for our quote unquote Millionaire headquarter days. It's the one day a week that I like to schedule and designate to give our interns or our mentees an opportunity to come for a full day. Sometimes it's shorter depending on what's going on that day. But for the most part, we give them an opportunity to come in and to really just see behind the scenes of how we're running a $1 million company and what we're actually doing to turn this company into a $10 million company. Like, you're able to literally see step by step, process by process, system by system, decision by decision, and you're able to shadow me and my team. You have no idea how impactful that is. But I brought that up to say that while we were on the back end of our training yesterday, it was probably about 3:30, maybe 4 o'clock, somewhere around there yesterday afternoon, and we're finalizing some of the few points that we wanted to go back over, because we were redeveloping and perfecting and tweaking certain things that we were doing, which is a part of running and operating a business, right? We had a client who is on our online program, our Millionaire Blueprint. They called in and she was speaking to my personal assistant, and my personal assistant was like, well, Mr. Preston is here, you can speak with him. And then I got on the phone and she just kind of repeated to me what I just heard her say basically to my personal assistant. She was just saying, you have no idea how valuable this program is and how much I'm learning and how it's just changed my life. And she said it a couple times. She was like, it's worth so much more than what you are asking for in price, and people just have no idea how valuable this information is. And one of the reasons why I appreciate it so much to hear that, she said, I don't know how often you hear it, but you should be hearing this every day. And I hear it from people from time to time. And a lot of our clients that are in our mentorship program, we see each other and talk to each other on a weekly basis, so I hear it. But what really blessed me, above and beyond her just giving me my flowers on behalf of how she's learning and changing her life and growing, is that I have been able to figure out a lot of things, because I know the average entrepreneur, the average individual who just want to get out of that job and start a business, or maybe it ain't even about the job, it's just about you wanting to be financially free. The average person may never be able to, or maybe never have the strength or the willingness or the internal fortitude to put what I put in to learn what I've learned. Because you're gonna have to read a couple thousand books. You're gonna have to take the next 20 years and just dedicate your life to just figuring it all out. And keep in mind, while I have been building my business and my understanding of all these things in business, I've been simultaneously doing the same thing in ministry, because my calling is both of those tracks. I'm a train on 2 tracks. And so I've had to work on both, figure both out, study both, preserve the integrity of both. And so it all comes down to understanding the things that I'm talking about. So the 3 keys to a successful business cycle. How are you going to get attention? How are you going to make conversions? How are you going to develop and create and sustain retainment? It's going to be because your business is transactional. You and your business has to become transactional. You and your business has to become transitional. You and your business has to become transformational. So let's talk about being transactional. What do you mean by being transactional? Well, you have to simplify it. You have to simplify it. Here's what being transactional means. I have something in my hands. I extend it to someone else to put it in their hands. And in exchange for me extending it to put it in their hands, they extend their hands and give me money because I gave them something. Transactional. Transactional. Another word to describe the importance of transactions is sales. Sales. Wow, I destroyed that word. I don't know what happened. Sales. So you would hear people say this sometimes. You may have heard it before. Sales solves all problems. And what they're saying is the lifeblood of your business, the lifeblood, like the jugular vein of your business, the jugular vein. You know, if you cut that jugular vein, it's a wrap, right? The jugular vein, the lifeblood of your business is sales. It's being able and being willing, and to some extent being disciplined and repetitious and held accountable to be relentless in making sales. Did you catch all that? So if your business is transactional, what that means is you as a business owner, you as a CEO, you as an independent contractor, a self-employee, even in your job, if you have a role to play in your business, if you have a job description, becoming transactional means you are doing things within your role, within that job description, to make an impact in the revenue of your company, to make sure that people are knowing what your business is about. So you can be the janitor in your company. You can still make an impact of revenue in that business, because if a client goes into the bathroom and the bathroom is not pleasant, it can affect the revenue impact of that company because you didn't do your due diligence. And so everybody plays an important role, especially in a business, to create this cycle and to sustain this cycle. So your business has to be transactional. You have to get back to the basics. This is one of the conversations I had with my team yesterday, and we talk about it every day, but I really had a powwow yesterday about this responsibility of sales. Because if we're not making those sales, we're going to go out of business. It's just as simple as that. It's only so long a business is going to stay open without making sales before it closes, because the lifeblood of your business is sales. And so when your business is transactional, that means your business is led by somebody who is disciplined. They're relentless. They're held accountable. Now, if you don't have that in your life, that's going to be one of the issues why your business is not growing, or why your life or your finances are not growing. This should be one of the reasons why you have a coach. This is why people have coaches. And I know there are a lot of people who say they're coaches, and they've given coaching a bad name. They've given it a bad name. They've given mentorship a bad name. It's kind of like in my space of preaching and pastoring and leading, there are a lot of people who've given it a bad name. But just because there are some bad apples don't mean you still don't need to be a part of a bunch. You just need to find the right bunch that doesn't have bad apples. So if you are an entrepreneur, a aspiring business owner, you have to come to the acceptance that you need somebody who has done a lot of the things that you want to do, or maybe all the things that you want to do. You've got to reach up. You cannot stay stuck, and then you wonder why you're just overwhelmed and burnt out dealing with people who below you or dealing with people who are on your level. Well, you're never willing to pay the price to reach up to the people who are better than you, who can pull you to where they are, who can motivate you and inspire you. That's called accountability. That's called becoming disciplined. That's called taking responsibility. Guess what? It's called putting yourself in a position to be coached so that your life can become transactional. It's amazing to me how many business owners I talk to who are expecting for other people to do for them with regard to their business that they won't do for others. It just doesn't work that way. Think about it. Especially if you are a coach, if you are a trainer, if you are a motivator, if you are an influencer, if you have any type of products and services or ideas for products and services or programs that require people to follow you and listen to you and take your advice, and you don't have that for yourself, your business is not going to grow and succeed, because they're just like, there's no place for that. Am I making sense to you? Like, how are you going to get attention and attract somebody to listen to you when you are not in an ecosystem and being retained as a person who's listening? So I always tell the story how I've always, in ministry, I've always had a pastor since I've been saved. I've always had a pastor. I've always paid my tithes. I've always served the church. I love the church. I love church people because I didn't grow up like that. I came out of the streets. And so once I got saved and got into church, yeah, I've had issues with churches and church people, but none of that surpasses my love and appreciation for church and for church people and for the church community, the Christian community. Man, I love that community. Amazing people. And I love being around those kind of people. All right. But when it comes to business, I didn't always have the right mentors, the right coaches, the right people. And for a long time, I felt like I didn't have it because people didn't want to give me access to information. You probably been in that place in your life where you like, man, nobody don't want to give me nothing. Everybody want to keep it to themselves and everybody trying to hold it back. And I had to realize that it's not them, Ramon. It's you, dog. Bruh, it's you. You are unwilling to pay the price to get in the right rooms. And the moment I accepted that and took responsibility for why I wasn't in certain rooms, for why I wasn't in front of certain people, for why I didn't have access to certain information, guess what happens? I was able to take what I had in terms of money and resources and capabilities and use it to get into somebody's cycle so that they got my attention because they had what I wanted. They were either going or where I wanted to be. I was converted into a customer or a client or a part of their community, and I retained that relationship by continuing to feed that. And I really started understanding it more once I looked at what I've done in ministry. I remember one of those moments I had with myself that I thought, wow, how did you get to where you are in ministry? How did you become this man of God in ministry? You faithful, you obedient, you serve God, your church, your community. You just do all the right things, and it has given you so much credibility and integrity, and people respect you as a man of God. You're talking about somebody who used to run the streets and get high and do crazy stuff and go in and out of jail, and all of a sudden I'm respected as a pastor, a preacher, a prophet, an apostle. People honor me and love me and want to be around me after all these years of doing certain things. Well, it was because I've created that cycle when it came to my commitment to the gospel ministry. But once I started applying those principles, guess what I became? I became transactional. So I understood that I've got to be willing to give even when it doesn't look like I'm getting. So that's something that you got to put an anchor in the water on. If you do not have a coach And you, especially if you're trying to be that to people, you cannot be to people what you don't want somebody to be to you. It just doesn't work like that. I heard one pastor, I've listened to a lot of his material and follow him. He's a very admirable man. Here's how he says it, and it applies to business as well. He says, don't tell me who you're over until you tell me who you're under. You caught that? He says, don't tell me who you're over until you tell me who you're under. So your business needs to be transactional. And as a business, one of your most important transactions is this: sales. And if you cannot sell something, it's because you may not have something to sell. So now you need to work on product development, or you need to find products or services that you can actually sell and monetize and make money from. But you got to have something to sell, an idea, something. You got to have some idea that you package as a product and service, you provide value through it, you put a price on it, and you take it to the market. You got to start making transactions. And as you start making those transactions, you never stop making those transactions. That's the part that you got to understand. You always make those transactions because you're always trying to sell something. So that means your attention is going to be about marketing, sales. It's going to be about having the right products. So if you just look at all these areas that you're going to have. Be a millionaire? Well, I'm making it real easy for you because I'm giving you my personal playbook that I've used to go from hood figure to seven figures. It's called the Millionaire Blueprint. This is an online business and financial wealth building system that I know works because I've used it to become one myself. Now, in this wealth building system, I'm teaching you about starting and structuring holding companies, creating divisions, subsidiaries, how to reallocate pre-tax dollars into other operating entities. I'm teaching you creative tax strategies, how to minimize your taxes, maximize your deductions. I'm teaching you real estate investing on how to take earned income and active income and convert it into passive income. I'm also teaching you sales, how to create a sales process, a sales cycle, how to create a script. I'm teaching you marketing, goal setting, scheduling, pricing of products, product development. This is a very, very, very detailed business and financial wealth building system. Click the link